I'm not really much of a pro player when it comes to playing games on the PS5. If I'm playing games like Call of Duty or Overwatch or any other games like that, I'm obviously not really that good at it. But if I was wanting like a pro controller or something, I would easily pick up something like a customized pro controller that is easily made from using everything on a DualSense, and it doesn't really show much, but honestly, I do kind of like having the features of back buttons and clicky triggers and clicky buttons and all that. But depending on like which controller I would use, depending on the back buttons, like the Spark Kit or the Rise 4 that I just showed earlier, then obviously with controllers like that, it's pretty much simple for me to pick. But obviously for people who are just wanting like a simple pro controller that's like out there that people don't really mind spending the money on, obviously picking up a DualSense Edge is something that's worth trying to use, and obviously playing like all the pro controllers because of the back buttons, the swappable sticks, the interchangeable sticks, all that stuff. Even though this is like modded with clicky buttons, a new shell, and LEDs and stuff. But what about a controller that's like really out there that not a lot of people don't really have the money to spend, but some people would actually not mind spending the money for? Well, 2 months ago, I actually entered a giveaway that was hosted by a YouTuber by the name of Andy Tech Tables, and he actually did a bunch of giveaways involving like a bunch of other controllers, especially this one controller that is like very expensive that I've been wanting but couldn't because of the money. And I was actually glad that that opportunity gave me the chance to actually pick one up and actually have it in my possessions. People would spend $300 or $280 for it. I was actually able to get it for free thanks to that giveaway. And that controller is of course the Hex Gaming Phantom. In this video, I am going to be reviewing the Hex Gaming Phantom, and I'm going to be giving you guys my personal opinions, a little bit of gameplay, and what I actually think about the details of this controller. This is Mad Maxwell 26, and let's get reviewing. Hello everybody, Mad Maxwell 26 here with another review for you, and today I have something right here that I have not really done in a while. 2 months ago, I have actually entered in a giveaway from a YouTuber by the name of Andy Tech Tables. And that giveaway involved this controller that was crazy expensive, but I actually was able to get it for free. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Hex Gaming Phantom. So for the box, as you can see, it's got Hex Gaming right here, which is holographic, and at the bottom it says customize your victory. On the side, it's just a barcode and then a lot of stuff about Hex Gaming. On the back, you got more information about Hex Gaming. You can pause it right now and read it if you want. You also have their social medias as where you can find them on X or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And this is their social media name right here, and also hexgaming.com. And as you can see, it says it's designed for esports, tactical gaming. Not much more at the bottom or at the top, so let's get to it and crack this thing open. I will say that what is kind of funny though is that inside a box is another box. Just nothing but a regular black box that's all blank. And even when you open it up, you are greeted that way, but there's nothing in here because I already took it out. So let's get to reviewing it. Inside the box, you are actually greeted with all of these as the accessories. You have a very long power cable that is actually like long enough to where it could literally fit an entire room. You got this little Velcro thing that says Hex Gaming Customize Your Victory, and it also has the Hex Gaming logo on the front. And then we got the USB logo on the back right here. Right here it's upside down, but it says Hex Gaming, and I believe, yep, it's the logo right here. It's a very nice braided USB-C cable, and of course it's USB-A to C, so if you have like a fat model, then yeah, I guess it's probably perfect enough for you. We're also greeted with these joystick protector rings, which are just nothing but a bunch of rubber rings which is just stuck around in the stick, and it gives you like a little bit of his instructions on here. You are also greeted with this little tool right here, which let's actually open it up. You are also actually greeted with this little Hex Gaming X thing right here. You might be wondering what it is. It's actually a thing involving the feature that the Hex Gaming controller has itself. It's a bit flat right here and right here. And you can also see there's like two little Phillips head plus things right there. So that's pretty much it for this. You're also given like two of these ribbon cables, and the reason behind it is because of this little thing right here, which is actually a drift fix feature mechanism thing. It is clear and it does say SX Gaming. Got like a little spot right here as to where you plug in the ribbon cable, and you have C1, C2, C3, C4 for the calibration. If you have like the Hall effect one, which is the one that I have, this is actually what you would use to actually do the calibration, but of course you would have to do it through the calibration website online. And finally, you are also given 8 optional sticks. Right now it's 6, as you can see, because I already put 2 of them in, which you will see what they look like. So we have a concave one, we have a bit of a dome one, which if you take these out, this is the size, and this one is also a little bit. So I'm pretty sure that these are like small, and I think for these are tall. Yep, we got tall, 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 and tall. So you were basically given like the options for tall ones or small ones, but I basically have like the original ones, and they are actually held in with this little case with the Hex Gaming logo right there. So that's pretty much all it for the accessories. And when you open this up with this case, this is actually kind of nice. It has a Hex Gaming logo right here. You have like a little net and a little spot for the controller and the sticks. And funny enough, this case actually does kind of remind me a bit of the Xbox Elite controller case, which I will actually show in a little bit for comparison's sake, but I do think that this actually feels really nice, and it's very sturdy as well. And here it is, the Hex Gaming Phantom controller itself. I went with the clear one because it was offered me in the giveaway, and I really like how it looks. You can see we have all the clear and some gray on here. So as you can see, we also have like a lot of cool details on it. Like for example, the touchpad where it says customize your victory, Phantom, Hex Gaming, and everything. And you also get like a little bit of logos everywhere when it comes to the share and options button, but you do not get the logos on the clear buttons. But if you are familiar with a PS5 or anything PlayStation related, then you obviously know that this is X, square, circle, and triangle. And of course the D-pad doesn't really have any of the arrows on there. So these are the sticks that I went with. These are the original concave ones. And if you can really see right there, you also have the Hex Gaming logo for the PlayStation Home button, which I actually think is a very nice feature. Now, because this is clear, there are like a lot of cool things that you can see inside of it. So let's go ahead and turn this over to the back. And on the back, as you are greeted, you also have like this little flap right here, which I will actually show you what it is. And then you have L1 and R1 and R2 and L2. And you have these little switches, which if you are curious, they are the trigger locks. So as you can see, I turn it off right here, and you get like a full press. When you turn it on, you are greeted with mouse clicks, and it's also the same for this one. Very nice. You also have like this little gray grip right here, which is all part of the kit, and you also have the back buttons, which is K1, K2, K3, and K4. And these are also clicky. And they actually feel really nice in the hand. Like if you were playing like this, your fingers are going to be like touching right there. And I think this is actually a nice comfortable spot as to where you are basically pressing these. It will take you like some time to actually get used to it, but when you have played with this as long as I have, then you are already comfortable enough with how it feels. Now, in case you were wondering, because of this EXR part right here, that's because this is also none other than a customized controller that is made by the sister company of Hex Gaming, Extreme Rate. Extreme Rate is, of course, the gaming company that actually has made like a lot of mods, a lot of buttons and shells, and a lot of cool customizable upgrades as well. They are the sister company of both Hex Gaming and Play Vital, which when you come across them, you will find their parts either cheap, average, or expensive, which is what this is, which I'll talk about later. And if you can't really tell, we also have some Hall effect sticks that are made by Extreme Rate. You can obviously see from the purple in there, and I think that they actually kind of look really sick, especially with the transparency. These are the, I believe they are the Hall effects purple options. I don't remember which one options they are, but I do know that they actually do feel great and much better than potentiometers. Would kind of be okay with them being TMRs, but of course Extreme Rate hasn't really made any projects like that before. Now, if you're obviously curious about like what this part is right here, right above the USB-C, well, the reason behind this is because there's like a little hidden feature on here, which is where you're going to need this tool. And of course you are going to have to enter it like that. And right here you have like a little drift fix thing. And as you can see, there's also Hex Gaming Golden in here. There's like a little drift fix thing right here where you get to actually install like this little thingamabob, this calibration tool right here. So once it's installed, then that is where you are actually going to be calibrating this thing by pressing any of the buttons to get the drift fix all fixed up. Now, of course, you are going to be having to use that calibration tool online like I mentioned, but I would not really mess with this myself because obviously it's actually perfect as is. And of course we get to push this down all the way. And then your sticks are perfectly drifted and fixed. It's kind of different compared to how Extreme Rate actually says how you get to calibrate these things, but it's perfectly fine as is. And also, as you can see in the inside details, when it comes to the clears, you get the extremely awesome, no pun intended, details on the inside. So you can also have like this little purple motherboard showing off for the back buttons, which is like right here. And the other thing about it is that once I turn this on, is that with these, you get to actually turn this thing on, this button right here, which actually helps you program these back buttons. And you are given 6 customizable profiles as well. So you got, for the colors, you have blue, you got green, and you got double press every time you want to change them. You got cyan, yellow, purple, and white. I do think that that feature is actually very nice because honestly with 6 customizable profiles, it's like perfect per game. And of course the mic button is still there. Now the thing about the front shell is that this is actually the Luna shell. If you don't know what the Luna shell is, it's basically a redesign of the original PS5 front shell, which I will pull over to the side right here. So yeah, I also customized this one as well. So basically, as you can see, this one doesn't have a trim, but this one doesn't, and that's basically the iconic basic look for the PS5 controller. But this is like a full redesign of how it is, and I do actually think that it kind of looks much cooler and much better as is, to kind of make it show like it's made from a different company who actually worked on controllers like this. I was literally in the middle of editing about this until I realized that I forgot how you work the back buttons on here, so luckily I'll be able to show you that. So right now we have blue as like the blank one, and to program the back buttons, all you gotta do is hold this button until you see the blue light blink. There you go. Takes you like 3 seconds. And the closest button I can map is K1 to circle, so let's do that. When you do that, it blinks red, and then when you're done, you just hold this button again for 3 seconds. And now I press this button, and yeah, that's how you program it. And then to turn it off, you just do the same thing, circle and K1, hold them for a few seconds until the red blinks that way. And then you're done. Just hold that button for 3 seconds and yeah. This is also going to be like a bit of a hand configuration thing, but to also like clear everything out from here, all you have to do is hold L1, R1, up, left, triangle, and circle to clear that out. So let's go ahead and do so. And there we go. Turn that off. And now, since I'm on YouTube, yeah, all clear. I thought I'd try out the trigger locks with one of the new games that came out, Mouse PI for Hire, and with this, I think it's actually way better than trying to actually use like a full press. So if you're using this for like FPS games, then I would actually suggest that it's perfect to use something like this. if you're trying to do like fast shooting games and all. Not really a great start, but even when you're in the middle of a game or a match like this, then I think that's trying to use the trigger locks for like the fast-paced shooting and everything. It's actually much more better than trying to rely on, like, you know, when it comes to using the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, which I actually do like, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to trying to be like a competitive first-person shooter in the game, then it's when you're gonna have to think, okay, maybe I don't really need those. But, and yes, knowing that I died, sorry. But I do think that when it comes to using the trigger locks, it's actually perfect for trying to become a faster shooter and all. So now I actually thought about hooking up my Steam Deck and actually trying out the back buttons with Kingdom Hearts 3. I know that this is like uncommon to show like what I'm doing and uncommon that what I'm playing as. So obviously I'm doing like the Ventus Another Road story thing. But this is all just like a test and everything. So I remapped K2 for X, which is like the common thing, and I remapped L1 to K4, so that way it would be easier for me to do like the shortcuts and everything. I remapped K1 and K3 to square and triangle, so that way I would be able to use like the spells if I want to. And using the back buttons, it's actually not that bad, but I do think that when it comes to using these, you're gonna have to get like very familiar and used to how the back buttons feel. I personally am okay with it, knowing that I've been playing with this for like 3 months or so. No, not 3 months, 2 months or so. And I do kind of feel like that with this, it's actually very much perfect and useful. If you're using this for games like FPS games like Call of Duty or Overwatch or so, then these back buttons are very useful. I will say that you can actually remap everything. You can remap the face buttons, the D-pad, L1 and R1, L2 and R2, and even the sticks and touchpad if you want. So because everything is actually pre-installed on here, it's very much simpler and easier. That way you won't be able to have to worry about trying to solder or get into the controller itself. Because I will say that about this controller, if you try and open this up, it is quite the mess to try and get everything all organized and situated the way that you want it to be. So honestly, I would say don't risk tearing apart and opening up the Phantom for this. And for Pro Controller customization's sake, we have the Hex Gaming Phantom right next to the Xbox Elite controller. This is the S2 model, or the V2 model. I don't really have the back paddles on here, but I do have it modified with the clicky buttons and all. And I also have the PS5 controller that I made myself, which I've already shown off. It has LEDs, clicky buttons, clicky triggers, and it also has the Spark back button kit. And here is the Midnight Black Pro DualSense Edge controller that I made with the Edge sticks with a full clicky button kit. And with the Rise 4 Plus Max kit, which is all metal by the way. And because I have a case out, we're going to do the case comparisons. We have the Hex Gaming case right here with the Xbox Elite case right here. This is actually a third-party one, but as you can see, we have the, move that out of the way. You got the stand, the sticks with these little thumb caps I put on there, the paddles, the D-pad, all that, and of course this little net right here, which honestly wouldn't really fit the controller cable right here. And as you can see, this is what it looks like on the inside for this. And for customized Pro Controller's sake, we have the Hex Gaming Phantom right here, right next to the customized all decked out DualSense Edge, which I gave LED buttons and clicky buttons and new sticks. I made it all red, and as you can see, we do have these two back buttons right here that you could basically just play around and mess with right here. But honestly, I do kind of like the 4 much better. Now I do play with like 2 back buttons in case I want to, depending on like some of the games that I do enjoy playing with 2 back buttons, but most of the time you will find me like playing with like 4 back buttons. I mean, that's literally what the Spark kit and the Rise 4 Plus Max kit is all about for me. So that's basically everything that there is about the Hex Gaming Phantom. Now I will talk about my pros and cons. With the pros, I will start that with the Hall Effect sticks, they are very perfect and they are very useful enough, so that way you don't gotta worry about the stick drift problems. My other pro is the back buttons. At first, I wasn't really like a fan of how they felt right here, but they are actually very comfortable and they do feel really nice. My next pro is of course the triggers, which feel very nice and clicky, and in case I ever want to switch around with the buttons going all the way in, or if I want to do this, then I can always use that feature in case I want to play racing games like Sonic Crossroads Racing or basically any other stuff. The next pro I also has is of course this drift fix thing. Because you are using Hall effects, yes, there's still that chance that you will get drift, but if you use this and use that tool, then you will be perfectly fine as is. The other pro that I do have is that you could basically play this on anything else, not just with the PS5, but you can also play this with a PC, a Steam Deck, or anything that you have that you enjoy playing with. And the last pro I have is its customized color options. Now, as you can see, I have the clear option, or as they call it, the Explorer edition, but Hex Gaming has like a lot of other features and customized color combinations that they have. I kind of wish I went with the green one, but I do like the clear one because this was actually like the first thing that I would have wanted anyways. So with those out of the way, we'll now talk about the cons, and the con is basically like a personal preference, but I would have personally preferred like having there be like all clicky buttons for everything, not just for the triggers and the back buttons, but I do kind of think that these being clicky would have been perfect. But like I said, if you're going to like take this apart and try and install like the clicky kit or the LED kit, you're basically just going to have a high chance at breaking this. I mean, speaking of, VK's channel actually broke his after he replaced the buttons with the PlayStation themed buttons and installed the new TMR sticks from Gully Kit. The results that he got back from it was that his triggers no longer worked, so he tried replacing them with a customized ribbon cable from Extreme Rate, and the triggers were fixed, but it didn't really fix the back button options. So you're basically, if you're trying to fix that, then you're not really going to get like the back buttons working. And even JP from his YouTube channel, he actually installed Hall effect sticks on his, but he broke like the little calibration thing on purpose. But if you were to ever install like Hall effects or like do stick swaps with potentiometers or anything, you were basically just going to be breaking a ribbon cable or so. That is why I would not be installing clicky buttons or LEDs on here. Maybe if I have like a secondary Hex Gaming controller in green, then yeah, maybe I might install LEDs and clicky buttons on here. The next con is not really much of a personal preference, but it's also for people who kind of have a gripe with this, but there are no logos on the buttons. Now, they can't really do that for legal reasons because nobody wants to see Hex Gaming get sued by Sony or PlayStation or anybody because they use like the buttons on here. Now, of course, obviously, Extreme Rate doesn't really mind with Xbox because, well, they are Xbox buttons, but they're very different or everything. But when it comes to like these buttons, yeah, you're basically not really gonna have a good time if you put like the original logo buttons on here. The other con is basically kind of like a personal gripe for me, but I kind of wish like this D-pad was like a split D-pad, because if you were to actually have something like a split D-pad option, then they would actually feel really nice for like fighting games if you're ever using this for like fighting games. So I kind of get that. Now the last con is actually something that makes people want to ask me, is this worth picking up and having in your collection? Here's the con: the price. If you're picking this up from Amazon, the price for it is going to be $250 if you're going for the Hall effect ones. If you're going for the potentiometers, it's going to be $220 or so, but because this has Hall effect sticks, this is where it becomes crazy. This thing itself, it's $280. If you spend this with like the taxes and everything, it's going to cost you $300. There is also one more con about this, and that's the battery life. Depending on if you do not have the trigger locks or the rumble motors on or anything else, then the battery life drains way faster for you. And honestly, I do like the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback and the rumble motors because I really like how they feel in hands. But why would this have all the battery inside this controller and just be completely drained? Because here's the thing about it. When you start trying to turn this on to your PS5, it will not turn on because it will already be dead. You would already have to make sure that this is fully charged and ready for the next games that you have. What Hex Gaming actually advises you to do is to charge this and make sure to not worry much about the battery life, you would have to turn off the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, and you would also have to turn off the rumble motors. That's not really going to be a problem for anybody who actually plays FPS games like Call of Duty, but for me, I want to play Call of Duty and a lot of other stuff by using these and keeping everything on. I really do like the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback and how they feel, especially if you're playing games like Astro's Playroom or Horizon Forbidden West or stuff like that. So I have no reason to turn them off. So do I think that this is worth picking up? No, but it is a very nice controller that is very comfortable and all that. But I would not spend $300 on a controller like this. Like I said, I got this for free in a giveaway from Indie Tech Tables, but if you were to buy this, then this is literally like the same price as an original V1 or V2 Nintendo Switch. But with this, is this worth it for me? Yes, I actually use this controller as one of my primary controllers all the time. Aside from all the gripes, I do actually like how it feels and how I play with it. But with everything that's a huge problem for me, I am okay with living with those problems, and I am okay with actually wanting to make sure that nothing bad ever happens to this, because obviously this is expensive. I don't want this to break or anything, and I obviously do not want this to be stolen. Like, come on. So yeah, it's worth it for me. But if you have like the time, the money to actually spend $300 on a Hex gaming controller like this, especially with Hall effects, then sure, go ahead, why not? But if you do not want to spend $300 on a controller, I would just say keep the DualSense controller that you have, go onto Extreme Rate's website, and actually buy all the parts that you can, even if it's sticks, clicky buttons, back buttons with the Spark or the Rise 4, or even if you want to also like install LEDs on all of them. So save yourself the trouble, don't really spend $300 on this. When it comes to ranking this controller, I would say that for me, aside from all the gripes and everything and looking at the upsides and the pros, I would say that I would actually give this controller a solid 8 out of 10. This controller feels really great. I'm glad that it has like all the features that's kept in there. I really do like the Hall effect sticks inside there, and I do like the Luna front shell, giving it like a new design. And I also do like the back buttons. I like how they feel. I like the triggers, the customizable profiles, and I really do like how on the inside you can see all the hardware and all the hard work that Hex Gaming has actually done. So yeah, solid 8 out of 10 for this controller. I would rate it high, but aside from all the gripes, this is the best that I can do. It's not a problem if you are a wired controller player, but if you're a wireless pro controller player, then I would just say make sure you save the battery on this and make sure that you charge this as much as you can. Special thanks to Andy Tech Tables for the giveaway of this controller, even though it was 2 months ago as of this video. But this controller is now a great part of my collection, and I am really glad that I use this as a primary controller for everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for that. If you like this video, prove it by hitting that like button, subscribe to my channel for more content, follow me on TikTok at MattMaxwell26, and follow my baby girl Bloodheart at Bloodheart97. And what do you guys think? Should the review videos come back? If not, then we'll continue on with the reaction videos. Speaking of reaction videos, if you have a request for a video for me to react to, let me know in the comments below. With that being said, I am MattMaxwell26, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.